Hi everyone, it's Neve here and welcome to my art journaling channel. Today we're going to be doing some collage using the Dylusions collage sheets from Ranger. So I've already got some backgrounds in my journal. These are leftover pages from my collage fundamentals class that there's a link to in the description box below. So if you want to find out how I do magazine collages myself and do my backgrounds and borders and so on, you can check that out. But these are I did lots of extra pages in my journal and I wanted to use them up. So I'm going in with a background stamp because I just wanted something to make it a little bit busier in the background. These are fantastic new stamps from Natalie May, an Australian artist who's got some of her own original stamps out. And it's sort of all original art. I think the stamp set's called Blah Blah Blah. So you can see it's cool, different types of text and so on, which worked really, really well. And I've just stamped out over the top of my images with, I was going to say acrylic paint, with archival ink, so it's nice and dry. I do tend to find, particularly if I'm going to be working over the top of it again quickly, I hit it with a heat gun just to make sure it's nice and dry. Because the archival ink is oil-based, it sometimes dries permanently and dries really quickly, but sometimes it just takes that little bit extra to dry. So to do my doll, I'm choosing some images out of the collage sheets from Dylusions. I'm getting confused between all the different designers. And one of the things I love about it, you get 24 sheets in the pack. You get 18 sheets, I think, of large images, and then the rest of the images are the same images again, but done at half size. So you can get a variety of large and small images, which are great if you've got different journal sizes to work in. But you can also play around with scale and proportion by combining the large images and the small images on the same page. So she's got lots of bodies, lots of legs, lots of arms, lots of heads, but for this piece I actually decided to use some little arch shapes as my body instead of another type of body. So I'm just overlaying the different pieces, and one of the things about doing these types of collages is you kind of really need to know which piece needs to be glued down first, which piece needs to be glued down next, just so you can overlap them okay. I tend to, when I'm using these sorts of collage sheets, using dry adhesive like a glue stick is much better than using wet adhesive. You tend to find you get a smoother finish, it doesn't buckle, and so on. So just have a think. If you're having difficulties with it, try changing your adhesive and see if that works. Then I'm now going in with some paint pens to add more detail and to sort of make it my own. Like, I know Di's done her lovely doodling over the top of it, and I just want to add some extras to make it mine. I love that we have opportunities to have all these fabulous artists' artwork, but sometimes I feel that if I don't do something to it as well, can I really put it in my journal and say I did it? So I do like to add things to the bits and pieces. One thing I do like to do is to use colours that I've already used in the background. So I've got lots of teals and pinks. So those are the colours I'm choosing to really focus on for adding my extra detail on my page, to again tie it in a little bit more. You can see I've got some of my images going into the border and going up above the page. That doesn't bother me. I can trim it off or have it incised, but you can. It just makes it, to me, makes it look a little bit more interesting. One thing I do like to do, and you can see this on the other page as well, is make sure that my figure is grounded though, so it makes sense and it's not floating in midair. So her little foot, even though you can't see it because it's kind of off the bottom of the screen, is actually touching the bottom of the page, so it looks like she's stepping on something or stepping out. So she is actually connected to the edge of the page. Now I'm going around my image with a black pen, and you can see that just helps to pop the image off the page somewhat and finish it off. And you can see that particularly on the legs, they were kind of blending in a little bit to the background. By having the black pen go around, it really makes it stand out from the background. So you can continue to add until you are happy. I have found that the paper that these are printed on are slightly matte. They do soak up pen somewhat, so if you're finding everything sort of seeping away, just keep working at it and it'll be okay. So now I've outlined her eyes, I'm going back in and putting some dots in, and she's got pink eyes, because why wouldn't you have pink eyes? It makes all the difference, really, doesn't it? So once I've finished decorating my doll, I decided that I needed to put some quotes on the page. And with magazine collages, when I do them, I tend to steer towards the more snarky type quotes. They just seem to work better with them because they're weird and quirky and they've got attitude. I find that they work really well. And this page, with everything that's on it, was completely born out of the fact that I was having an interesting day at school, at my job this day. I had to run a PD session for the staff, and 2 staff members, one who should have well and truly known better, decided that, you know, being on their phone and sending messages between each other would be a much better use of their time than actually listening to what was being disseminated. And it didn't really bother me until afterwards, I have to say, when I had about another 4 or 5 staff members contact me and go, "Did you see what they did? That was so rude, rah, rah." And it was just, I was not upset about it. I was more incredulous that it had happened. So hence the quote and the "I'm sorry, didn't I roll my eyes out loud?" because I have got a terrible, I think I have amazing poker face, but I've actually got a really terrible poker face. One of my colleagues is actually on face duty with me and sort of has to give me a signal if I start rolling my eyes out, or, you know, making my feelings known on my face when I shouldn't be. So it's good to have someone who can do that for you. So with a large, broad pen, I'm putting in my quote, which is "Put your phone down now." I'm very subtle about it in my journal pages, aren't I? And I've just written it out, and you'll see I've actually written out over the edge of my page. I couldn't fit phone in, so I just wrote it into the border. Again, I'm not really precious about, you know, I've done the border, I can't possibly write over it. It's part of my artwork, the whole piece, so if it goes over and covers it, that's well and good. Now I'm going in with my black paint pen, and I'm actually going in within the white pen area, so just like 1 mil or 2 mils into it, so you can actually see the black pen outlining on the white. The P in the border is a slightly interesting colour because I've actually put the paint pen over some chalk pen, and the chalk's sort of floating in the paint pen and reactivating, so it's just stained it slightly. That's okay. If it really bothers me, I can go back with white paint at some stage and repaint over it. So you can see me cleaning my pen and doing some dots and dashes here and there. So that's pretty much the end of the page. I think I did a little bit of journaling about how I felt about on the day. So I'm just using a white paint pen. It's not. It is not hard. So I really wasn't subtle about it. So I had that little gap over there and I filled that in. So yes, journaling is very good if you've had an interesting day at work, or with the kids, or with your husband, or with anyone else. You can capture your feelings very well, and snarky comments are amazing too. So just like I did on the other side, exact same process, outlining my letters so that it all belongs together, just with a white pen. To finish off my page. So yeah, that's my magazine collage. So here's a close-up of the background so you can get a bit of an idea. So it's just basically lots of patches of colour in the background with some stamping over the top. It's pretty simple to do, and then create your own border around it. And here's a close-up of the finished page. So having those amazing collage images that you can just cut out and use in your journal is so much easier. While most of us have some magazines floating around, sometimes finding the right images to put together is quite tricky, so the fact that you've got a load sitting there that you can use is really, really handy. So thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye for now.